Hi everyone, I'm taking my mask off now, but I want you to know during COVID we're being as safe as we possibly can.
Right.
We got a 6-foot table and we have Joe Deagle with us from Deag's Diner and all kinds of other stuff that we're going to ask him about. And he's doing what I'm calling Mexican street food.
Yes.
And there's lots of different kinds. So you guys can take your masks off since you're 6 feet apart and we're going to get started cooking. So tell us, Joe, what are you doing first?
So today we're going to work on Mexican street corn as well as grilled skirt steak tacos and with a quick pickled onion with a chimichurri marinade. It's just stuff that's fun and easy to put together on a summer day. A lot of the stuff can be done ahead of time. So we're going to get at it. We're going to start with the marinade first. This way we can get our meat marinating while we're working on the other prep for the rest of the items.
So the marinade's the chimichurri.
Yes, the chimichurri is going to be used as the marinade and also as the finishing sauce on top of the tacos.
And
So-
do you know what makes it chimichurri? Like, is it the peppers? Is it?
So the chimichurri is a mixture of fresh herbs and a little bit of spice. It's
Okay.
it's used a lot all through Central South America and a little bit in the Mexican region as well.
Okay.
It's a very vibrant sauce, and during the summer when all the herbs are fresh coming out of gardens, gives everything a lot of flavor.
Right, okay.
So Carlos, if you could start by chopping up some oregano, parsley, and cilantro. I'm going to get going with the Fresno chili.
Carlos is our fabulous sous chef who's been with
Yeah.
us from the beginning, but now he's become like our chef.
Yes, he
I don't
has.
know
He
about
cooks
that. You're
really
very
well.
kind.
He makes great stuff. Yes. And
So this is a small shallot that adds a little bit more flavor than a red onion. It has very thin layers, so it's easy to blend into marinades and easier to chop than a red onion. And
isn't it a little milder as well?
yeah, it has a flavor of a cross between red onion and garlic.
Uh-huh.
Putting it in here, Joe?
Yes, please.
What's important always is having good knives. That I can tell you.
And sharp.
Sharp knives,
Sharp,
good knives work
keep
very
them
well.
sharp. What type of pepper is that?
So that's a Fresno chili. So
Fresno chili on the level of peppers, it's lowish.
it's
like no-
it's lower than a jalapeno.
yeah.
Does have same qualities and same makeup as a jalapeno, but not as spicy as a jalapeno.
Uh-huh. I've been listening and learning a lot about the levels of peppers.
The Scoville value.
And I want to tell you, I saw yesterday an ad for Kentucky Fried Chicken ghost pepper chicken poppers. And I thought, ghost peppers are the worst, aren't they? The strongest?
Ghost peppers are one of the hottest chilies that are out there.
Yeah, so who would do that? It's Kentucky Fried Chicken. But whatever.
AFC.
Yeah, I guess so. And I hope I'm quoting that it is them and not somebody else.
There is the shallots. Now I'm going to work on the chili.
Are you
So
taking the seeds out?
So depending on, I was just going to mention that, depending on how spicy you like things, you can keep the seeds in or take the seeds out. Most of all the heat is in the seeds in the membrane that runs through the middle. So if you don't like things that spicy but want that flavor, take the seeds out. If your family and yourself like a little bit of spice, keep the seeds in.
But always take the membrane out?
Yeah, I usually, if I'm making a salsa for myself, I keep the seeds and everything right in there and chop it all up because I like the spice. For this, I'm just going to take out half the seeds. So any of the seeds that fell on the board when I was cleaning, I'm going to keep those in there
Right.
to add that little bit of spice.
So you've got what, two
So I'm just doing, right now I'm just doing one.
one, okay.
Yep. And
And I notice you have a lot of fresh herbs.
yes, so
Great that we can do that.
right now coming into the end of the season, but the herbs are still vibrant, still
They are.
growing.
They
The oregano actually came from my garden.
Nice.
Oh.
I still have basil
Cilantro's
doing pretty
great.
well.
You still have basil doing?
Yeah. Much of the other stuff's not doing that
Yeah.
great anymore.
So I just like to chop this up as fine as possible.
Great. Got this
So it
done.
all goes into one bowl.
So all
the
into
different-
one bowl, all chopped up as fine as possible. So Carlos is doing the oregano,
Cilantro,
parsley, and cilantro.
Yes.
So that's all in there.
It is.
And now we can just add the, if you want to add the
Garlic?
olive oil,
Olive oil. Here.
How much?
Quarter cup.
quarter
Great.
cup.
Great.
This is
Quarter
third,
cup.
but
Yep.
yeah, it's
Oh,
close
is it
enough.
a third? Good. We're missing a few measuring cups, but we know how to measure by eye.
I'm doing a little bit of fresh chopped garlic. That's going to go in there as well. If you buy pureed or anything that you may
Like crushed in a jar?
Yeah, it's fine as long as you use it while it's still fresh. This garlic actually came from my Uncle Al's farm up in Maine.
Oh, nice.
He grows about 5 different varieties of garlic, so just got some different kinds in. So now I'm been using it at the restaurant and using it in the cooking, and it's amazing how the flavor of fresh garlic
Vibrant,
compared
right?
to
Vibrant, right?
yeah.
Now tell me why you work so hard to chop it so fine when you could use a chopper.
Well, you could use a chopper, but when you bruise and beat up the herbs so much, they tend to turn black. They turn color. If you use a nice sharp knife, the best thing to use when you're doing stuff like this with fresh herbs or garlic or lettuce or anything, always use a nice, fresh, sharp knife, and it keeps the lettuce or the herbs from turning that brown bruise color.
Right.
You don't want to beat it up as much.
No, we don't.
All right, now we're going to add the half cup of vinegar. The vinegar is going to bring what, red wine vinegar? Right. That's going to be what brings all this marinade together and really release all the flavor from those herbs.
So it's a thin, chimichurri is thin, not
Yes.
thick.
Nope, it's a very, very thin
I'm
marinade.
not a regular eater of Mexican
Just put this whole thing in,
food.
did you?
Yes,
I
put the
thought
whole thing in there. That'd be
chimichurri
great.
was thick, like tomatoey. So good to learn that it isn't. Almost like Italian dressing-y kind of.
Yes. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. I don't use any pepper in this marinade because there's already the fresh chili pepper in there.
Are you using regular or the coarse
That's
kosher?
coarse kosher salt. So that's all the marinade's going to look like. It's just fresh herbs, a little bit of shallot, garlic, Fresno chili for the heat.
Tip that a little bit so the camera sees that. Okay.
So it's just
that
going to be a
looks
loose marinade.
Okay.
So
And that's going on the meat.
that's going to go on the meat, and we're going to reserve a little bit to finish the tacos, as well as basically as our salsa on the
Okay.
tacos.
So what's next?
So next I'm going to start by cleaning the steak to show you. So this is skirt steak.
Is it easy to find? I see flank steak a lot.
Flank steak and skirt steak are very similar, but the two different characteristics are skirt steak has tougher meat, tougher muscles, but it has a tender eating. If you cook it properly, it's much tender than flank steak.
Okay.
So if you can't find skirt, you can use flank. When you're working with skirt steak, a quick marinade and a quick cook on it is the best end result.
Okay.
So this still has the silver skin on it, so you use a nice sharp knife, just get under it, cut
So
away.
that's always on there when you buy it.
Unless you go to a butcher shop that's
That
going to
takes
clean it
off,
for you.
yeah. So you
But
want to
this-
get rid of that membrane.
Take that off because that's going to make it so it's chewy and not going to eat very well. I always cut away from my hands. Just put a nice little cut underneath and follow that fat down to the end.
Got a nice sharp knife there.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's all you really need to clean. Some fat is good.
Right. Some fat is.
Some fat is good.
When you come down to it,
Throw that in here.
fat is flavor.
Yep.
So if I can have that other, actually we're going to use the bag.
Okay.
Marinate
Ziploc
in
bags and everything are really good to marinate in. So this one was already cleaned.
there. Right.
There's just a small spot that's going to have to be.
Removed. So you're real careful about that membrane.
If
How
you
much
want to
of
pour
this?
maybe half that, try to get as much of the herbs in there as you
Okay.
can.
Yep.
Yep.
So this is how we're going to marinate.
That's perfect.
Normally, Joe tells me you want to marinate for a minimum of an hour up to a day. The longer, the better, probably. We don't have that kind of time here, so we're going to marinate it quickly in 10 minutes maybe, and then we'll cook.
So marinades in the bag work perfect. Let that sit for about an hour to up to a day. You want to get really good marinade on that. It's not a thick marinade. It's just going to enhance that steak and give it all that flavor. So when the tacos are built, it all comes together.
Okay, so next.
Next, we're going to work on the street corn recipe. So we're going to do with the street corn. It's a grilled street corn. So we have shucked corn, and I have corn that's already in the husk. So there's a trick that you can do. If you don't like the char on the corn, getting that black char on the corn where, some people think it's a little bit bitter, they don't really like the flavor of it, you can actually soak the corn in the husk in cold water for about 30 minutes, let it drain, put it straight onto the grill in the husk with the water.
I watched a show yesterday Bobby Flay does a lot of grilling
Yes.
shows,
Right,
and
right.
I love watching them. And he made a comment about taking the silk out.
Yes.
Because they are not tasty.
Yes. So you can, when you soak it in the water and then you put it on the grill, it steams inside. And then when you take it off the grill, you peel it, the silk comes off, the husk comes right off, and then you would prepare it the exact same way as if it was grilled.
Plain.
Yes. So right now we're going to do a sour cream mayonnaise mixture that's going to be brushed onto the corn after it's grilled.
Use this bowl.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So sour cream and mayonnaise, just like a dressing kind.
Yep. So it's a half a cup of mayonnaise.
That's what's in here.
Yep. Half a cup of mayonnaise, half a cup of sour cream.
Use that.
While he's doing that, I wanted to ask you a couple questions
Yes.
about how things have been going at the restaurant.
So
You get a drive-through.
Yep. So over the course of the last few months, we did put the investment of putting a drive-through in, so people can order online or call ahead, call their orders in. It's not a drive-up window. It's not a drive-through window per se where they can order
Right.
at the window.
Right. They have
But
to
it makes
pre-order, but they'll pick up.
Yep. So it makes it very easy for people to just drive through, pick up their order that's already been placed, already been
And the
ready.
hours are the same, so it's breakfast and lunch still?
Breakfast and lunch.
Okay.
During the week we're open at 5:30 a.m. and we close at 2. During the weekends, it's 6 a.m. to 2 on Saturdays and 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sundays.
Are you closed on Mondays?
And we're closed on Mondays. So,
And so tell me, because I've been hearing talk about a food truck.
yes. So over the winter, back in November, we purchased the food truck. So Deag's has a fully functional catering and event food truck. So at the moment, we've been doing work with some of the local breweries, mostly with Black Hat over in Bridgewater and Crew Brew in Raynham. With the whole COVID situation that's going on, the breweries need to serve food if they're going to serve beer.
Right.
So
right.
it's been a downfall for some businesses, but actually it's helping my business because
good.
yeah. So on Friday nights and Sunday afternoons, we're at one of the breweries and we're serving food. I've built menus that kind of go along with what they serve
Okay.
at the breweries.
So you'll tell us after maybe where we can find it.
Yes, that'd be perfect. So
Mix up.
to that, we're going to chop up the half cup of cilantro.
Are we close to going over to the grill?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because we're doing everything grilling, because that's how we do it in COVID.
Yeah.
And we love Pam Carr and Sean Carr, who let us use their outside,
While
which
you're
is
doing
as
that,
nice as their
yeah.
inside.
I'm going to zest one lime into the mixture. So these
So
zesters
you know
are
the
great.
zest of the lime is just the outside, not the white part.
Yeah, only the skin. It has all the fragrance, and I mean it smells delicious. It adds a lot of flavor. If you don't have a zester, I find these for really cheap at like TJ Maxx and Marshalls compared to the actual stores that.
Kitchen
And
stores.
is that called a mandolin? Or, oh no, that's the slicer.
That's the zester.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So now I zested one lime, and now I'm going to put the juice of half
in here.
a lime in there. Yes, sir. Juice of half a lime in there.
And what did Carlos just add?
Cilantro.
So he just added some
Cilantro.
fresh cilantro. Into that, we're going to add some chili powder.
How much?
1 teaspoon, so all of that.
All of this.
Yep. And then a pinch of salt and a pinch of pepper.
Okay. So there's a big difference in the taste of cilantro versus parsley,
Yes.
even though they look pretty much alike.
They do. Cilantro has the glossier, more light-colored green leaves, and parsley is a little bit duller and more bright green. But the flavor is two total different things, and there's a high percentage of people out there that have an allergy to cilantro. They
Yeah.
think that cilantro just tastes bad, but it actually has a chemical reaction in their mouth that almost tastes soapy when they eat it.
That's
Oh.
what I've experienced.
Yeah, so
I've
when
experienced- like I
people-
don't eat cilantro.
People don't like cilantro. It's
Right.
usually it's an allergic reaction.
Oh,
All right, so that's gonna sit. We're gonna do a quick marinade on quick pickle on red onions. So
Hurry.
there's 2 different ways that you can do pickled red onions. So you can do a cold pickle, which is almost like an overnight pickle.
Okay.
So I would slice up the onions, do very thin rings, and
You
then
can buy pickled onions in
you can buy
jars.
pickled onions.
So he's going to do this, but we need to be quick because we got to get to the grill.
And then, so all we do is, thin layers of red onions and enough sugar to cover the onions and enough vinegar to cover them as well. After a little bit of vinegar, a little bit of sugar, a little bit of salt and pepper, and let them sit overnight. Or you can do a 15-minute quick pickle where you bring
15 minutes, that's really
15 minutes,
amazing.
right?
Yeah.
You bring the water and the sugar to a boil, right?
Bring the water,
Oh, so you do
sugar,
that over
vinegar to a
pan
boil.
if you're
Yeah.
not outdoors. Or even if you are outdoors and you have a burner on your grill, which a lot of people do
Yes,
have.
they do. You can bring the sugar, the vinegar, a half cup of vinegar, but a quarter cup of sugar, a little bit of water. Bring that to a boil, melt the sugar, let it cool down for a minute or two, pour it over your onions, and let it sit for 15 minutes.
Okay.
So
By
this-
the way, all these recipes are going to be found online. I have, we have put them together. Joe sent them to us, and they will be up there. So you feel free to go online, maybe in a week or so, and look for them.
So that's a
once the
quick
show-
overnight pickle.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
great.
easy.
Yeah, very easy.
So
let
do we
it
have
sit
to prep
overnight.
the corn here?
So the corn's ready to go. We're gonna go over
Okay.
to the grill now.
Okay, let's go to the grill.
We'll go to the grill.
So we're back at the grill now.
Yes.
And what we've done is cook one of the skirt steak pieces.
Yeah, so I'm
And-
going to show you the
yeah.
proper way to grill marinated meat. So I'm starting with a hot grill. I oiled it a little bit. This is our skirt steak that we marinated earlier. So to get those nice crisscross marks, you start at a 90-degree angle, you flip it. You want to go about 3 to 5 minutes per side. Skirt steak is best eaten at medium rare to medium.
Right.
As you cook it longer, the tough muscles become conjoined and it becomes chewy. So
Right,
you want to
so
make sure
don't overcook.
Don't overcook it. And then the biggest thing about any kind of protein, if you're going to slice it to build tacos or anything, you want to let it rest for about 5
They
minutes.
say all meat needs to rest.
Yes.
Even chicken, somebody
Yeah.
said, let that rest recently.
And people sometimes take it off the grill, put it on their plate,
Oh, yeah,
cut
they
it up,
start cutting
and then
right away.
there's juices everywhere. That
Right.
juice is leaving what you're eating, and it's going to be dry.
So you want when you cut it not to let all the juices
Yes.
out.
So,
So
with,
you put corn on already too?
with the corn, you want to give it a nice light oil, some salt and pepper, and put it on the grill nice and hot.
That's a salt and pepper mix.
Yeah, I always season my meat as it cooks through. The more, just a little bit of seasoning goes a long way. This has been on there long enough to turn. So a nice 90-degree turn on that.
So basically you're turning on one side, kind of moving it twice, and then turning it over.
Yes. So you want to get the nice marks on two sides. The corn takes about 8 minutes on a hot grill. You want to just keep on rolling it, get those char marks on it. You can see the color contrast as it changes as it cooks.
Right.
It becomes more yellow, it
Right.
comes a little bit brighter, and that's how you know that it's cooked.
So you cooked a piece of steak already.
So we're ready to go to the
and
building.
this is the corn. So now we can go over and build the tacos.
Yes.
Which is the really interesting part
Yes,
of
it is.
all of this. So we just realized as we were moving that we didn't grill the tacos.
Yes.
And everybody wouldn't know they got grilled.
No. So this is a local brand. It's Maria and Ricardo's corn and wheat blend taco shells. They're actually made in Canton. I love using as much local stuff as I possibly can.
Right.
So with the taco shells, you just want to give them a quick grill just to warm them up. You can eat them out of the package, it's fine, but a nice little grill on the taco shell really enhances that flavor and makes them a little bit softer and more pliable.
Softer? I thought they would get crustier.
No, it makes it a little, the heat warms that up. If it was a corn taco shell, if it was straight corn, it would get a little bit crisper. But
I
since it's a
see.
corn and wheat blend, they get a little bit softer and more pliable to.
So is this a place that services restaurants, or could a person go in and buy?
They actually sell them at all your local grocery stores.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So what was the brand again?
Maria and Ricardo.
Maria and Ricardo.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, so they're cooking really quickly.
Yeah, you just want to warm them up, give them a little char, and they're ready to go.
Right. Okay. So now,
Now we
go
can
build
go
the
build the
tacos.
tacos.
Okay, so now we're back to the best part of
Right.
the whole thing. Cooking's great, and it's a lot of prep, and you learn a lot. but now we get to put it together and eat it.
And
Yeah.
enjoy
So
it.
that's
Yeah.
a really good part. Okay, so you guys have got it all set up. Tell me what you're doing.
So Carlos, you're gonna start with the street corn. We're gonna finish that up. So it's got a nice char on it, gives it a nice flavor. We're mixing it with that sour cream, mayo, ancho chili mixture that we made, and that's gonna add a lot of flavor. I personally don't like mayonnaise,
You don't like mayonnaise.
which is crazy. But if it's mixed with anything or mixed into anything, I love it. So,
Excuse me, but
like a
I have
garlic-
to interrupt.
Yes,
That's really messy to eat.
it is. But that
a good
anything,
part.
anything that's messy is usually
No.
eats very well.
I don't know.
It's all over your
I'm going to do
face.
a male-female thing with you guys. 'Cause women don't want to be doing that, and the stuff is slathering
This
around
is,
their face, and they got lipstick on.
It's-
Well, they used to have lipstick on anyway. Yeah,
that's-
and masks and all that. Yeah, and beards and who knows what else.
That's the mixture that's we made earlier. It's brushed on there, and then it's finished with some fresh cilantro.
It looks very good. Now, if you cook the corn in the husks,
Yes.
you could put that stuff in it and pull the husks back.
No,
and
it would
cook
just fall off.
Okay.
So you want the corn, you peel it all off, let it sit for a minute, because if the corn's super hot, the mayonnaise and the sour cream just melts off as it hits it.
I have to talk about the cheeses because they interested me. Which one is that?
So this is the cojilla. The cojilla cheese is a harder, more firm Mexican cheese, almost similar to a Parmesan. So
Really,
yeah,
that high?
It's a little bit more
Very
dense.
white looking.
It's a more aged cheese than the queso fresco.
Okay.
The queso fresco is a fresh cheese. This is an aged cheese.
So liken it, if you would, for me, to other cheeses that I might like. Queso fresco.
Almost
is
like
it
a-
like farmer cheese?
I would say the cojilla is like a mild feta,
Okay,
Very
that's
mild.
what
like
I
a
thought.
very, very mild
Salty.
feta.
Salty,
Yeah.
like a
Salty.
feta.
And
like
the
that.
queso fresco is just a mild, soft, fresh cheese that has the consistency of
Is
I
it
don't-
like farmer cheese?
yes,
That,
yes,
ah,
but it's
a young
little bit
cheese.
it's very young.
It's a young cheese.
Young
Yes.
cheese.
It's not aged.
it's not aged.
So he
We
used
just pulled it right out from the cow.
yes, he used the
Okay.
zester to put the cojilla on there, which is amazing because it gets
easier.
It gives
Yes,
you more
to zest the cheese.
more
because-
coverage.
Okay, so
Um,
what do we build? What
So now I'm
first?
gonna build the tacos.
Okay.
So the first thing that I'm going to do is slice the meat. This meat has been grilled to a medium rare. It's rested, so now it's ready to go.
Do you slice at an angle?
Whenever you do any kind of meat, you want to slice across the grains. So everybody would probably think to go this way,
Sure.
Yeah.
because that's
Yeah.
the natural length of
Yeah.
the meat. I cut it into strips and then turn it on the angle because the grains are going this way. Cut across the grains. This way.
So when you see the grain, cut in the other direction.
yes.
And that makes the most tender meat to eat. That's true for all meat, isn't it? Steak and everything.
Any kind of meat or protein that you're working with, you always want to cut across the grains. It's going to make that meat so much easier to eat.
Boy, you have no idea, people, how good this smells.
Oh my God.
I am here, haven't had breakfast, so I can hardly wait to dig in.
So that's the meat all sliced up. I'm going to
Looks
finish
so
it.
juicy and wonderful.
Just a little bit of salt to add that flavor. And the building of the tacos.
So
That's how you get 'em
that's
like
kind of
that.
interesting.
So that's one
No
way to-
holder needed.
No holder needed. Put it all across. I like to start with the steak first. So 1 pound of steak gives you about 8 tacos. You're going to do about 2 ounces per taco shell.
Okay.
So that's a nice little
Yeah.
arraignment. So with the queso fresco, best way to do it, you can just do it with
Crumble
your
it.
hand.
Okay.
Now that looks feta-ish, even though it's not as dry.
Get those chunks in there.
And the queso fresco is more for like a consistency because it really doesn't have a lot of flavor.
No, it doesn't.
Because it's not aged.
Nope.
You're getting the consistency
Of cheese.
of cheese. Yeah.
So this is the chimichurri that we made earlier.
Texture.
Right.
And using about just a little bit of tablespoon over the top. It's going to give that spice. It's like a fresh salsa. I know a lot of people that don't like tomatoes. So
Right.
you know, they don't like salsas. This really...
And that's what I was thinking about when you were talking.
Oh, the salsa.
Chimichurri was
Yeah.
the salsa look. Or
Yeah.
So that gives you that nice vibrant flavor. And then these are the pickled onions that we worked on earlier. So this is, they've been soaking in the red wine vinegar sugar mixture for a while now.
Yeah.
Gives it that nice flavor. It adds a whole different composition to these tacos.
Carlos, try one onion and let
Try
us
one
know
onion.
how it
Just
is.
one?
Well,
Just one.
You can take 2. I just want to know how they really good.
I love onions anyways.
Yeah. Are they crispy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and we're dressing the plate with lime.
You
just finish
Squeezing
with a little bit of
lime
lime.
juice over it.
The sugar, everything.
This is
tastes in there.
delicious.
And this is fresh grilled skirt steak tacos with queso fresco, chimichurri,
corn.
and pickled red onions.
And corn.
And then Mexican street corn with mayonnaise, sour cream, ancho chili, and cojilla cheese, lime juice, and fresh cilantro.
This is really great. This is a fabulous meal. You'll be able to post at your website
Yes,
where
I will.
your food truck is, or if people want to
Yep, so if they
know
want to check
more or
out
order online.
deagslocaldiner.com, all my upcoming events with the food truck at local breweries, as well as specials that we are running at the diner, and any other announcements that I may have are always on our Facebook or Instagram
Thank you.
page.
Thank you so much for coming and joining us again.
Thank
we
you very
always
much.
love having
Yeah,
you.
love you.
You're a great
Yeah.
chef.
Thanks for having you
Thank
guys.
you.
And you really do a great educational show.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. We'll see you again soon, maybe after COVID, or who knows, we could do this again as long as the weather holds out. Thanks
Yep.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.